Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be doing a support guide for Treant Protector. This hero received probably some of the biggest buffs of the recent patch. Most notably, they severely buffed Leech Seed, making the ability to do quite a bit more damage at level 1. That's the main thing. Like, actually a very significant buff. 4 more damage at level 1. And that might not seem like a big deal, but honestly, 20 damage and heal can be the difference in the laning stage, right? Especially if you cast this ability 3 times in the span of a minute, which you can, or a minute and a half more realistically, it's going to be a big deal. On top of that, the cast point was improved, so you can get the ability out a bit quicker, and then follow that up with an auto attack, which is really big for a hero with 91 base damage. And then the cast range was improved, which might not seem like a big deal because it's the same at level 1, however at max, it's 150 cast range better. So as the game progresses and you get this ability maxed out, because typically you don't max it out, I've gone through multiple Treant games at this point. I found one I really want to show you guys, but I've gone through a couple. Most people don't max Leech Seed. Some people will take 3 points in it. I have seen a few with maxing it out at level 7, taking advantage of the cast range buff, and it looks good. It looks good, but the build we're going to be looking at here today is a 1-2-0, so 2 points in Leech Seed at level 3, and then maxing out the Living Armor, then maxing out the Grasp, and then coming back for Leech Seed, which I think generally is the best way to play Treant. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like, literally, with the Game Leap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the Game Leap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. We're going to be watching Stinger, one of the best South American support players in the world, and his Treant Protector. And I like this game in particular because really also, by the way, they increased the damage of Overgrowth. But one thing I really like about his gameplay is he has no problem being greedy. I know this guy for a fact is one of the greediest position 5 players in the game, and that might seem like, oh, that's not a good thing. That's not how I play. You need to learn aspects of Dota and different aspects of like position 5 gameplay from different people. You need to learn different ways of playing the game, especially when you're playing a hero like Treant. This hero is best suited to defend a lane, farm, and then buy convenient and effective items to show up to team fights with. And you'll see, I love the items that he buys this game. I think they're absolutely perfect. I think he does such a great job itemizing, and we'll get into that as well, because it might be confusing what to buy on this hero. You can buy kind of anything, actually. But yeah, at the start of the lane, there's 2 options. I actually kind of like Leech Seed level 1 quite a bit now. It wasn't, as I said, that big of a buff, but it was decent sized buff. From there, he'll trade out a bit. You just have to be careful about getting too close in between 2 heroes. Treant is a 285 movement speed hero with 1 armor. You die very quickly. Even with relatively high HP, you're not that tanky. So I was surprised to see him walk in between 2 heroes here. I actually think that's a general mistake and should be avoided. You want to play the tree line for the majority of the lane, because when you're in the trees, basically if you haven't taken damage for 3 seconds, you gain bonus movement speed, you can go through the trees, and you get 40% heal amp, right? So anytime you eat a tango, you want to get this activated, this Nature Skies activated, so you get more value out of your base regen and your tango. So try not to just run into the middle of the lane, play the tree line, play the outside, and go from there. So at level 2, the build you go really depends on the lane. I will say I actually would have liked to see the Leech Seed at level 2 from Stinger here, because I think it synergizes quite well with Sniper, a hero that can be relatively aggressive in the early levels. So I was surprised to see him take armor in a moment from now. He gets got on by the Marcy, and I think he sort of panic takes armor. And to be fair, armor is very good at level 1. 6 armor is insane for 15 seconds. It's insane. 6 armor. You are Ogre Magi, and it heals you. Right? 3 HP per second is really not bad. 3 HP per second for 15 seconds? It's really solid. You might be like, oh, that's only 45 HP. It is, right? But it doesn't matter. That's 3 HP regen per second and then 6 armor. Like, you're going to trade way better because of this spell. So he does get gun on here. He puts the armor on, gets his 7 armor, which is just insane. Like, I think this ability is insane. 6 armor, you can put it on your teammates. Like, you can use it to trade. Crazy. It's only 50 mana too. It's very mana efficient as well, right? Very cheap in the mana pool, and you can see heals up a bit, pops a salve, trades with the offlaner a bit. So essentially play the tree line, look for people to go close to the tree line to trade with. That's the best case scenario. Good players will typically avoid you, but bad players often won't, and you can try to hit them, come out of the tree line, close the gap. You don't want to have to chase them, get auto attack twice, and then get your first hit off. try to make sure you close the gap first. It makes a big difference. Also, one thing to keep in mind about the laning stage is that as the lane progresses, Treant often becomes a bit weaker. Treant is particularly good at level 1. He's quite strong. And then again at level 3, I think, honestly at level 2 this hero is pretty insane. It has 2 nukes. Obviously living armor is good as well. So at level 2 you can get aggressive. At level 3 your hero is also very good. Very good in the early levels. Like very good. I was very surprised to see him not take the Leech Seed at level 3 because it nearly doubles in movement speed slow. It nearly doubles in damage and heal per second. And the cast range goes up a little bit, which is nice. So honestly, I get why he goes 1/1/1 because you don't want to not take Leech Seed at all. It's a great spell. I really don't like the builds at all that just completely skip it. I really don't like them. I really hate it. I think generally when you pick this hero, it's best if you can try to like play pretty aggressive with your Sniper, your Drow, your Terrorblade, your Troll, like cast your abilities and go on people. From here, I like his overall gameplay as he's going to look to defend bottom and bait rotations. And this is going to be the key central focal point of Treant Protector throughout the early to mid game. Bait rotations, bait dives. That's the key word there. Bait the dives. Dives. When you make them dive, as Treant, you can often live because you can run through the trees. And on top of that, your team then can counter gank. You'll see here, he's getting dove. He's defending this tower. Let's assume your safe laner left the lane, which is pretty common, right? Can happen. Or you can even tell them to leave the lane. I have a feeling he actually even told his Sniper at some point. I mean, Sniper died here, but I think he told the Sniper to leave at some point. Or Sniper left. Whatever it was, Sniper leaves, okay? He doesn't die here because he's Treant and can run through the trees. If you don't know how that works, basically, you can, even if you take damage, you can run through the trees if you already were affected by the 3-second delay. Does that make sense? You have to make sure when you take the damage, you already had been in the tree line. If you walk into the open and then take damage, you can't just run through the trees. So essentially, make sure you're in the trees when you're defending the tower. Don't walk into the open for CS that could get you killed. But yeah, we see a counter gank here from the Lesh. Unfortunately, they miss the stun and they don't get the kill. But he's able to defend the tower and waste the time of the enemy team, which is really nice. They're then going to take a large camp. He gets mana booted, which is great. From here, the fight's very straightforward. Main thing about Treant Protector is you just want to armor your low armor, high damage heroes. Leshrac is one of my favorite combinations with Treant in the game because Leshrac has horrible armor in the early game and honestly in the mid to late game as well. In fact, I love Pudge this game because I think Invoker, who he has on his team, has really bad armor. Lesh has bad armor. Sniper has decent armor, but not incredible. Pudge has horrible armor. So he has a lot of great, everyone he puts living armor gets great value out of it. And what's crazy about living armor, what honestly makes me feel like this hero is even potentially somewhat broken, I do believe that this hero is really great right now, is that it lasts for 30 seconds, 12 armor. 12! That's like 1,500 gold worth of armor. Absolutely nuts. More technically, if you are like combining Ring of Protection with Plate Mail. Insane. For 30 seconds on a 15-second cooldown, which means you can easily have 2 of these going at the same time. And it heals for 6 per second for 30 seconds, which is 180 health. Not bad. Definitely not great. It's not really mainly used for the healing. It's mainly used for the armor. So put it on the low armor targets. Like, you shouldn't prioritize putting living armor on a Terrorblade in fights. It's just not going to do that much. It's way better on your Death Prophets, your Leshracs, these types of heroes. The int damage dealers love Treant Protector. I think they have so much synergy with this hero as he kills himself. I can't say I really understand what he was doing here. I think he was going back to base. He's just like trying to be efficient. He armors his teammates, right? He puts armor on the Sniper. So that's like largely him trying to heal the Sniper. Even though it's not too much healing, it's a little bit. And yeah, the armor is not bad in that case either way. But I don't recommend jungling until you die. I don't think that was intentional either, as he will put eek in the all chat in a moment. But either way, now he's going to go back to bottom. And this is the main advantage of Treant. He actually doesn't go boots this game, which is really cool. He goes, because he has gold for boots here and he buys a Windlace and nothing else. So like he could have bought boots, but he doesn't. So now he's going to come bottom. He's going to armor the Lesh. I think Lesh dies. This is not great from Lesh. The Lesh dies is what it is. And from there, he's just going to stall up the tower push. So the Pudge comes down here. Does Pudge die as well? Because I remember him getting dove. No, Pudge leaves. So Pudge leaves, and he's just going to be in the area. And this is what you want to do as Treant. Your hero, frankly, at this point in the game, especially if you max living armor, which I do like. Personally, I like the second point in Leech Seed and then maxing living armor. I don't like this skill build very much. I'm personally very against it. Whatever. That you guys can, if you think it's a really good living armor game, which to be fair, to give him some credit, it's a great living armor game, you can do that. But the main advantage of Treant is when you can get really over leveled. because this hero has a really good level 6 spike, which just got buffed. Like Treant's level 6 spike is insane. Overgrowth is a really great ability. It's like 255 damage, something like that. And then, right, which is quite high in an AoE, and it roots them for 3 seconds. It's just a solid ability. It's pretty long cooldown, you know, to be fair, but it's a really just solid ability in these early game team fights when people clump up. And then Living Armor maxed out is an insane spell. Nature's Grasp maxed out is quite good in team fights, right? 12 seconds is just on the ground, slowing people for 35%. Even 60 damage per second is a lot. Considering vines deal also 50% more damage if they touch a tree. So if you get a good Overgrowth in a Nature's Grasp, they're taking 85 damage per second from Overgrowth and then 90 from Grasp. You're burning, you know, you're burning people, you're burning. You know, you really are burning them down. So yeah, you're going to see him play the tree line because it's very hard to gank Treant, right? Even here, they do gank him. I think he does die. So that was obviously a bit over ambitious. You want to be a bit careful about. You need to be aware of who can kill you, what heroes have the jump. Right? You should be very afraid of heroes like Clockwork, who can hook you through the trees, the Marcies, the Bat Riders. If the enemy team has these heroes, you need to be very careful and play passive, and I often wouldn't even recommend showing on the wave. I would prioritize just using my Q and armoring the tower. We'll see here, he respawns. The first thing he does before TPing is armors the tower from base, because Living Armor is a global ability. It can be casted on anything from anywhere. Right? So he armors the tower from base. He gets the tier 1 armored up. Now, this is going to cause the tower to have a bonus 10 armor, right? Bonus 10 armor. That's nearly a doubling of the tower's armor, and it heals it. It's just so hard to push the tower, especially for a hero like Snap that really isn't that great at pushing. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. You just have to waste so much time trying to kill this damn tower. And that's why this is so effective. He's level 7 now, which is really nice because as a support, you want to be high level, right? He's going to eventually max. I don't know why he went back for Leech Seed. That was so odd, but whatever. He goes back for Leech Seed, gets a great Overgrowth here considering this Invoker's TPing in, gets the Leech Seed off, which is going to heal him now. Doesn't die to the Snap ulti because of the Cold Snap and good positioning. And now they turn it around, right? They get this really nice fight. I don't know why I left track TPs here. That was probably not great. But they get this really, really great fight, right? Really fantastic fight. And then he denies the tower too, which, you know, you might be like, oh, why would you deny a tower's Treant? As I said, the E used to heal a lot. Like back in the day, Treant healed towers, like healed towers. Nowadays, you can't. The heal's not great. It really is only 180 at max, keep in mind. So it's less about that. It's more about stalling the towers. Of course, if it's half HP, you can try to heal it to full by just spam healing it. That's definitely an option. But Living Armor is better than ever at giving heroes armor and stalling pushes that are currently happening. Less about healing the tower. Hopefully that makes sense. You should do that. But we'll even see in this fight here, great play. Doesn't have the armor up, unfortunately, but gets a really nice root on the 2. And this is where Treant shines. He gets a really value Nature's Grasp here, doing 50 damage per second because it's touching a tree. I think that's all it has to do. Yeah, it just touches a tree and it does, I think it's doing 45, surely, right? It's hard to tell because it ticks for 8. I don't really know. But that I'm honestly not sure of. But outside of that, right, he drops down the Q, gets the bonus damage from that. And just look at the damage. It's a really, really solid damage. Also can get the Oov going to keep them in that Overgrowth, auto-attacking quite hard. And yeah, it's just fantastic gameplay. Unfortunately, runs out of mana here. Otherwise, I think he would go for the armor. He definitely would. He'll go for it now. And now this Invoker, a hero that's usually at 7, is at freaking 14 armor, plus 2 armor from the urn. I'm sorry, the Vessel, but you get the point. Like, it's triple Invoker's armor. Like, this hero goes, just to give you some perspective, he has 56% physical block. When he loses the armor, he's going to have 37%. That's insane. That's like, what is that, 18%? More block? I mean, that's so much, guys. It's so much. Especially in a game like this. I mean, to be fair, this is a great Treant game. You have the Overgrowth against the TA. You completely destroy Meld. Really good against Marcy. I think Treant's very good against Marcy as a hero because you armor who she goes on. You Overgrowth her through her eventual BKB. That matchup's great. It's good. Your hero's good against TA. Your hero's solid against Monkey King. I wouldn't say it's good against Bugna necessarily or Snap. I don't think it's good against either of those heroes, but you get the point. It's a really solid game as he's even jungling here. This guy is very greedy as a player. Like Stinger as a player, honestly, I like his gameplay. I love greedy 5 players because you farm up a little bit when your hero's weak, right? You defend the tower when your hero's kind of weak, farm up a little bit. He buys a Veil this game, which I love. I love the Veil this game. You have a sniper who does quite a lot of magic damage, but often you're going to have maxed out Shrapnel. You're going to have, of course, a Pudge. That's all magical. Lash, all magical. Invoker, with this build, all magical, really. Right, so it's a great Veil game. And then your hero does a ton of magic damage, too. Right, you have 3 nukes. If you hit Leech Seed, a buffed up Nature's Grasp, and an Overgrowth on someone, people die. Like, people die. Especially to Veil, which amps it up all up by 18%, which is a high number. 18% is I think Veil is underrated. I'm just going to say it now. I think Veil and drums are not underrated in the pro level, but in average pubs, no one buys drums. Like, almost no one. It's like the best item in the game. I swear, drums are so overpowered in my opinion. I really believe that. I think drums in their current state are so stupid. I really believe they are one of the most stupid items in Dota's history, and completely underrated right now. Completely underrated right now. I'm just saying it now. You can quote me on that. I think drums are not a lot of pros buy them. Very purchased item by pros. In pubs, way under purchased. Even on pro games, I think they're under purchased. But in pubs, they don't even exist for largely. As he sets up for another counter gank here. Just whenever you can push out lanes by towers, it's just going to set up plays like this. It's really great. Now at this point of the game, he's going to be showing up to team fights. You don't want to just like AFK farm the entire game. That's stupid. You want to get your levels and then show up with your first, like, when you're level 8, 9, you're going to have quite a bit of damage, good spells then. You're not just going to have like max living armor and some mediocre nukes and not feel great about fighting. When you're at this level 9, 10, and you have your Veil, you're going to be very powerful. I don't know why he didn't Veil here. That's definitely a mistake. He should have Veiled. You always want to Veil right away. Basically, it's fine to just Veil one hero as well. So at this point in the game, he's actually looking to actively play with the Pudge, putting down, yeah, so he actually does put down the Hill Ward. You have to be a little bit careful about one of these other wards, but yeah, you can see here, gonna drop the Veil onto the Marcy, put down the Nature's Grasp. Unfortunately, I think this one, I don't know why it isn't very clear, because I don't know if this means it, maybe one of you Treant spammers, I'll pin the comment if I see it. Can you clarify? Will this Nature's Grasp do 50% bonus damage because it's touching like this tree, or how does that work? I actually don't know, and I want to make sure that you guys have that information. Either way, you can see in this fight it breaks out, drops the armor. I think he messes up a little bit here. I will admit, I think his execution isn't perfect. Basically, he should just armor a bit faster. Like, this Pudge really needs the armor. He has 4, 2 more with the Arcane Ring, but like the armor is a huge deal. So I think his reaction should be Q armor. Because, you want to cast your max range spells as fast as you can to get the most value. So I think you should armor way faster here and then Leech Seed. That would have been way better. Unfortunately, he gets not enough mana for Overgrowth until now and gets a really nice Overgrowth on a 3. Sets up for a Sunstrike that finishes off the Marcy. That kind of baits them in once again. I mean, they've done just such a great job of sort of baiting in the enemy team, forcing them into dangerous positions. And that's something Treant's fantastic at because he has slows, he has a great disengage spell in Living Armor, and Overgrowth, and so you can bait the enemy team. And if this isn't happening in your games, you need to rethink about how you're approaching fights and your positioning. Maybe you're overcommitting a little bit too much to the point where your team can't respond. You're just insta-dying. That's not worth it. That's not value. Maybe you're not defending towers enough, especially early on. Note how he's been basically team fighting like off cooldown. He hasn't essentially defended a tower besides kind of mid at all. Now he actually does push him bottom for a bit as he avoids the gank. If the game is really bad and your team isn't fighting, you can eventually you'll get your Q maxed out and you can farm like a madman because they can never really gank you, you know what I mean? Unless they have very specific heroes that can hunt in the trees, like the Bat Riders of the world or like Hoodwink or whatever. If they have like one of these types of heroes, yeah, you have to be a bit more careful. But other than that, you can just kind of once again bait the enemy team's attention. Like this Marcy is probably not very focused on the fact that she can die because she sees the Treant. She's like, oh, Treant's just doing his thing. But look, then he drops the QW. Gets really solid damage out of it, just really solid damage as it's going to clear the wave as well, which is nice. And yeah, you can do this once again, even in the mid game. Bait the rotations, bait people to try to gank you, survive, play the tree line, play very close to the tree line. Don't go off the tree line. Just use your Q to shove the wave. I wouldn't even go for the CS most of the time unless the enemy team is showing mid or top and I'm pushing in bottom. I'm not going to go for the CS. I'm not going to take that risk. I want to just be able to clear all the waves and get my XP up. One thing to keep in mind is he also doesn't take a talent until I guess much later. He didn't even skill his ulti, which I guess makes sense. It only goes up in no, he did skill it. I was gonna say I can kind of see it because it only goes up by 1 second and that's it, which isn't like insane. I could see maybe maxing out Leech Seed because the ability scale is pretty solid, but okay, no, he goes for that. And then what I love about his build, I mean, look how tanky he is. 1700 HP. If he armors himself, he has 17 armor, and then he has drums, so he has quite a bit of movement speed, and then you're going to get 13% movement speed from drums active, which is what I think is so stupid about this item. I think the 13% AoE movement speed is just completely bonkers, and then the stats that this item gives as well is just really good, like just solid. I mean, it builds from belt to strength, and it only gives like 1 more strength than belt to strength, but you get the point. Like, I just think the stats are really solid, and then the active is really solid. I just think the item's completely broken. But either way, in this fight here, obviously this wasn't too fantastic. I think they kind of die in this situation, but TP's bottom. They're going to look for a fight here. Execution, very simple. He's going to generally lead with Q. If you can lead with Leech Seed, it's a little bit better because the Leech Seed kind of sets up for the Q. Overgrowth also kind of sets up for the Q. So like doing Leech Seed, Overgrowth, Q is generally the best way to kind of do more damage. If queuing first, and then if they walk out of the queue and then you Overgrowth, it doesn't feel very good, right? The Leech Seed and the Overgrowth should kind of enable the queue to some extent, right? So I don't love that he does this. I mean, I think here he doesn't want to Overgrowth, and so that's fine. But then he does it eventually anyway, so it's a fine line there. You know, you can kind of see where I'm coming from. It's a fine line. He didn't know she had BKB for sure. Otherwise, he would not have walked up to her like that. Does end up going down. I think it ends up being a pretty okay fight for them either way. But one really great thing to do as well, which I'm a huge fan of that he does it this game, is he died. And then instead of, I'll just show it to you from the beginning, but he dies, right? He's in base and you could TP bottom to farm here. And a lot of people would. It's very bad. If you can walk to the lane, walk to the lane. Because then you can TP to your mid tier 1 and show up to a fight that happens. It's really great to shove out side lanes on Treant, because you can buy these very cheap effective items and be happy about it. You don't need an Aether Lens or anything like that. You can buy these like team items. Feels fantastic. It's really great. You can even buy something like Pipe if it's really great. Of course you could, right? It's much better. It's, in my opinion, I love this Drum's Veil because it gives you a better mana pool, right? The Veil gives you mana regen and some stats. Also buffed item. Veil got buffed a little bit. I think it only got like one all stat, but whatever. That item got buffed. Is that it? Might not even say it. Yeah, it just got one all stat, which is kind of funny, but whatever. It's one all stat. It's not nothing. And so that gives you some stats, gives you some mana regen. This gives you some stats, some mana regen. I mean, with the fluffy head, he's literally 2k HP, and he's just clearing these waves, even baiting himself. So the only reason why he's clicking this is he's baiting for the Lash and the Bots Invoker. Is this going to work out? Pops the drums, pops the Veil, gets his stuff off. Oh, is he not going to die? Oh my gosh, Snap missed all of her spells. Wow, there you go. And that's the build, right? He's just so damn tanky. He's got the living armor because he understands, hey, if I get chain stun, I want to have the armor on the entire time to triple my armor, right? Freaking triples his armor. It gets gone on here by the Marcy. Whatever. She uses her Unleash. It's not even that much damage. Like, he's just chilling because he just has 18 armor and 2k HP. Gets freaking Snap ulted. He pops his drums to try to get away, get a little bit of movement speed. Snap misses a bit, but he just gets away because his movement speed's much higher than it should be. He doesn't have boots, which I'm not really a huge fan of. I mean, I get the concept. It's like drums are your boots kind of, but I think it's generally better to just have both. Like, I can get where he's coming from though, not going boots, because these like this Veil and this drums are so effective. The earlier you get them, the better too. So I get it. It's a cool concept. All right, and here we're going to see absolutely fantastic teamfight execution. We're going to end the replay a bit here. This game goes for another 10 minutes, but I think I've covered mainly what I wanted to cover. But yeah, the last thing that I think is really important on Treant Protector, we've given a lot of tips and tricks here. But the big thing is about Overgrowth usage. This is going to be your main tool to win mid to late game team fights. Of course, you want to, as I said earlier, focus on giving armor to your low armor heroes, especially if it's an initiator like Centaur or a hero like Leshrac that wants to run in and has bad armor. These should be your priority heroes 9 times out of 10. However, when you have Overgrowth, the main value of Overgrowth is the fact that it pierces BKB. So if a hero has a 7-second BKB and you get a level 2 Overgrowth off, you're burning more than half their BKB. Massive, absolutely massive. And you want to check items and be aware if heroes are going to have BKB. TA often buys BKB. This is a very important game for her to buy BKB based on her matchups too, so he should assume that she has it. If he doesn't want to assume, he could even just click on her. That's the better way to go about it. But you can see he doesn't Overgrowth here. Why not? Looks like a good Overgrowth. Because he wants to wait the BKB. He knows she's not going to get bursted. This isn't a stun. People can BKB out of it. They can purge the root. That's bad. If you Overgrowth before they BKB, they'll just BKB and get rid of it. Right? But you have to wait. So he waits for the melt to come out, gets the perfect Overgrowth onto 2. That's going to set up for the Pugna kill. They go onto the TA, just click her down. Her BKB doesn't even wear off. She just dies because she can't move and the sniper just clicks her to death. And yeah, it's just a fantastic fight. Very, very straight, like very simple gameplay, but everything he did there was right. Armored the Pudge, right? Armored the Pudge, waited on the BKB, got the Overgrowth off. Clean, simple, effective, and part of the reason why this hero is insane right now. I really believe Treant's a top support. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.